After what has felt an absolute age, The Division is finally here. After loads of delays and plenty of betas for Ubisoft's big new franchise, does it live up to the hype, or is it another typical Ubisoft disappointment like Watch Dogs? It's my review of Tom Clancy The Division. Reviews for the game have been few and far between, mainly because the game is always online and the servers weren't up until launch. I have played a fair amount of the game to make a good judgment, and the gameplay shown is only from the first few hours, so nothing is spoiled. Without further ado, let's start the review. First up, I'm going to talk about the most surprising thing about the game, its plot. Before playing the game, I honestly thought the plot would be a typical good guys versus terrorists, but no, the Division storyline goes like this. It's Black Friday and everybody's going batshit crazy buying stuff, but little do the people realise that all banknotes are contaminated with smallpox, which causes a massive pandemic bringing the city under quarantine. With so many of the population dead, criminal gangs are rising and causing more death and destruction. So the government calls upon sleeper agents of the Division to help with the fight, and it's up to you to save the day. The story really surprised me as it was dark, kinda scary, and it worked really well and made me want to play on to see what happens next. You start off the game by creating your character from a pre-list set of faces, then choose if you want them to have scars, tattoo and the like. It's a decent character creator, but it would have been nice if there were some more options to pick, like more hairstyles, probably some makeup, to make each character feel more individual. Once you've done that, you're ready to play. You start off in a small tutorial-like area that I won't spoil, teaching you the basics of the game. Once you've done these handful of missions, you're ready to enter Manhattan. And wow, Manhattan is an absolutely brilliantly designed area with plenty of places to explore and missions to complete. Yes, there's the typical Ubisoft tat you can collect to gain the trophy for getting them, but bar that, the world is honestly one of the best Ubisoft has made. It's atmospheric, detailed, and quite big. Time to talk about the campaign missions. These missions go pretty much like this. You go to the mission area and start the mission without any loading screens, which is pretty impressive. You then follow the orange marker to go to your destination, whilst killing plenty of enemies in typical Destiny fashion. By Destiny fashion I mean enemies appear nearly every freaking minute for you to kill. The missions are fun to play, and you advance through the plot, you explore some great new areas, but alas, they're all pretty much repetitive, these missions. To no surprise, the side missions and encounters are also pretty repetitive, but it is recommended that you play a few of these missions before you play a new story chapter so you're powerful enough to play through without dying. Missions are way more fun when you play it the way the Division is meant to be played, and that's in multiplayer. The game is, as I said before, always online, and while you see people playing around the city, when you ask them to join your team, that's when the fun starts. Completing missions as a team is brilliant and is such a thrill, and thankfully it all runs really smoothly without any hiccups. So kudos for Ubi for having a good launch. There is voice chat, and like other Tom Clancy game, Rainbow Six Siege is highly recommended you use your headset, as talking to friends help build up a strategy against these foes. Talking of foes, you'll be gunning down plenty of these goons, but here is where a couple of little problems lie. The enemies themselves all look pretty much the same. There's enemies that uses shields, fire, guns and the like, but there isn't actually much more variety in them, and fighting the same enemies all the time gets boring after a while. It also doesn't help that each and every one of the buggers are massive bullet sponges. They soak up bullets like Kim Kardashian soaks up the limelight, so it is really unrealistic for a game trying to be hard-hitting and realistic. Also, there's sometimes a delay in enemy hit detection, meaning you can waste loads of ammo while the game registers your previous hits. Time to talk about one of the most interesting things about the game, the Dark Zone. This is an area where the epidemic first hit, and it's the most dangerous part of the city. The area is full of high level enemies, plenty of rare and unique loot, and other real world players who can go rogue and kill you and steal your loot. The Dark Zone also has its own levelling up system, which allows you to buy bigger, better and rarer weapons. The Dark Zone is a brilliant area of the city to explore, and especially if you want a challenge and some more loot. Talking of loot, the game, like fellow MMO shooter Destiny, is full of it, with enemies dropping equipment like it's confetti, and whilst most of the stuff they drop is useful as a chocolate teapot, the boss type characters do drop some nice stuff. You can also buy loot via vendors in obviously the Dark Zone, so there's plenty of ways to get loot. Your character has 3 weapons. You have the main and secondary weapons, which can both deal big damage if you have the right weapons, and the third slot is for your handgun, which thankfully has infinite ammo. Character progression is another big thing for these type of games, and good thing it works pretty well here. The level cap here is so far 30, and you'll reach that in around 20 plus hours, depending on how good you are at the game. When leveling up, you obviously gain access to more powerful armor and weapons that only higher levels can wear. Then there's the abilities system. These abilities are helpful moves that you can use when you need help. These vary from giving you and your nearest teammates a health boost, to a shield, to even a bomb which can detonate and kill enemies on contact. You can only have a couple of these abilities, so pick wisely. Once you've used these abilities, you have to wait until it's cooled down to use it again. You gain more of these abilities by upgrading your base of operations, which is your main hub. You'll have to upgrade the medical, tech and security wings to access these new abilities. Upgrading your base also adds more facilities to the base's many different wings. Normally it's not worth upgrading places in many games, but it works really well here, and I think the progression system is done great. Controls now, and for a third person shooter it works alright. You have your standard run and shoot moves, but to get behind cover you have to press cross, and to jump over cover you press circle. You move from cover to cover by holding cross, and it does work really well. Though there is one weird exclusion: there isn't a crouch button here at all. I spent ages trying to find it, only to realise there isn't one. Probably something for a future update, hey Ubi. Sound and graphics next. The sound is pretty much what you expect here, with solid gun noises, decent voice acting, followed up by some nice original music. Graphics now, and while Ubi may have pulled another Watch Dogs by downgrading the graphics, it still looks mighty impressive. The whole city of Manhattan looks insanely detailed, buildings look nice, as does the various other vistas you visit. The lighting effects are also stunning, as are the snow effects, so overall they did a really good job here. Now time to wrap things up with a conclusion. The Division may have taken its sweet old time to get here, but the delays have proved Ubisoft wanted to get it right, and for the most part they have. It's an absolute joy to explore the city of Manhattan with an engaging story and an incredibly fun multiplayer that runs really well. Though it may get a bit repetitive and the enemies are bullet sponges and too samey, it's an overall really good package. I'd give Tom Clancy's The Division an 8 out of 10 with a title of great. The game's really surprised me, and while there's still a few faults, they should be fixed in a future update. Good job, Ubisoft. Thank you for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and until next time, bye.